What's up, Panther fans? Welcome to another PPN interview. I'm Vivian Stamps, and today we're here with Mr. Mackeown to talk about his new role as principal. First, I would like to thank you for taking your time to meet with us and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course, I appreciate it. Well, you know, I've been at Panhandle for 8 years. I was a coach and history teacher before I got this new role as principal. And, you know, honestly, Panhandle's the place I've been to the longest. I've never been anywhere longer than Panhandle, and it's because I love this town. And I love these kids that are here, you know, love you guys, and, you know, I've never wanted to leave, so I just haven't.
Starting out, what are your goals as principal, and how do you plan on accomplishing those goals?
It's a really good question. You know, as a principal, you know, I really, in a lot of ways, I want to treat it the same as when I was a teacher. You know, when I was a teacher, I wanted to have everyone feel like they were accepted and like they belonged and they were important. And that was one of my goals as a teacher, and it's one of my goals as a principal. I mean, I want the kids at this school to feel accepted, you know, have an adult that they know cares about them. And we have a lot of great teachers here and a lot of teachers that care deeply about their students, and you guys are easy to care about because you're such good people. But that's really one of my goals, you know, is to make sure that every kid knows that they're important, you know. And probably number two is just the fact, you know, I don't want there to be any cliques. You know, I mean, look, we have athletes, we have people in band, we have people who do one act, and we have some kids that, you know, they really don't do anything, you know. And one thing that kind of bothered me about Panhandle in the past is sometimes if you weren't in athletics, you didn't really talk to anyone that wasn't in athletics. If you were just in band, you don't really talk to anyone that's, you know, not in band. You know, you kind of have your little friend group, and I want to break that down. You know, I would love for everyone to get along. I think it's a little different at a smaller school. You know, I grew up in a big school. Mm-hmm. So my friends came from many different areas. It wasn't just athletics. I had friends that didn't do anything. I had friends that were in, you know, the vocational program, and that's kind of how I grew up. And I think that's why I tried to accept, you know, I've always been accepting of everyone because I know I had lots of friends that they weren't all in athletics. They were in many different things. So,
on the topic of your role as principal, why do you choose to change roles, and what differs from you and other past principals?
You know, it was a very difficult decision, you know, leaving coaching, leaving U.S. history that I love teaching. I mean, I love teaching U.S. history. It was very difficult, but you know, there was going to be a lot of change here. And I kind of felt like, you know, it might be the best thing for the school if the principal was someone that we already knew, instead of a brand new person coming in. And it might be better for the teachers, might be better for the students. So, you know, I stepped out and I decided I was going to give it a shot. And lo and behold, they hired me. And I was pretty surprised. I didn't really think I had much of a chance, to be honest with you. But I got hired, and, you know, but it wasn't an easy decision. And what was the second part of that? I don't think I answered the second.
What differs you from other principals?
You know, I think, I'm not really sure. You know, I hope it's the fact that I'm maybe more approachable than other principals that, you know, you've had in the past, or, you know, that might be here, or, you know, other principals elsewhere, because the kids know me so well. And I hope I'm always approachable, you know. And that was one of the hardest things about leaving the classroom, was the fact that I got to know a lot of the juniors really well, but I didn't really know, you know, maybe all the freshmen really well, or sophomores. Well, in this role, I get to know everyone a little bit, you know, maybe not as deeply as I knew those juniors, but maybe over time, you know, that can be something I can accomplish and you know, just know everyone really well. But I just hope I'm approachable. If there's ever any kind of issues, concerns, problems, I hope kids know they can come to me.
So far, how would you describe your experience as a principal and some challenges you faced?
You know, it really was very different, you know. And, you know, the hardest thing that honestly I've had to deal with is, you know, not having contact with you guys all the time, you know, not, you know, seeing you for, not having kids, you know, 4 and 5 class periods a day, not being in athletics and having those, you know, laughs and jokes. And that was difficult for me. You know, instead of dealing with kids who I really like, I deal with adults more, you know, and obviously adults, dealing with adults and dealing with kids are, you know, very different. But, you know, that's probably been the hardest thing, is just, you know, not having that closeness with, you know, all the kids. So, you know, and discipline, there's not a lot of discipline here at this school. Sometimes some things come up and you have to handle it and, you know, punish people, but there really you guys have been great. I mean, honestly, like with the parking passes, people just kind of did what they were asked, you know, and that's one thing I appreciate about you guys and I'm thankful for, you know, and it's another reason I'm glad that I'm here at Panhandle doing this job as principal instead of somewhere else, because you guys are so good.
And lastly, what kind of influence do you think being a coach prior to your new position has had on your leadership style?
You know, I've always been one, you know, as a coach, I always trusted my players, you know. I always trust my players to work hard, do the right things on the field, off the field, show up for weights, show up for, you know, any activity that we had and do their best. And really that's kind of how I approach this job too. I want to trust my teachers, I want to trust the students that they're going to do the right thing, that they're going to show up, work hard, and, you know, be good people. So, you know, I'm probably, you know, term that we used last year in U.S. history, I'm probably kind of a laissez-faire principal, and that's kind of how I was as a coach. I don't like to micromanage. You know, I, you know, want people to do the best they can because they want to, and that's their character. You know, and again, I'm fortunate that I'm here at Panhandle because there's lots of people that do that here at Panhandle. So it makes my management style, you know, better, you know, because we have a lot of good people. Now, when there's a situation where kids aren't doing that or a faculty member might not be doing that, then, you know, I have to be a little tougher on them. But, you know, my style has always been trust your people that they're going to do a great job and they'll work really hard for you. Give them a lot of freedom, treat them right, treat people right, and, you know, excellence is going to happen because they're going to want to be the best they can be because, you know, they respect that leadership style. So.
Well, that's all we have for you, Mr. Mackeown. Thank you for all the great things you've done and continue to do for us at the school. And until next time, Panther Nation.